Hello, you're watching The Nation. I'm Jessie CHAHAL. When we think of Almarhum Tunku Abdul Rahman, our minds immediately go to that one scene at Stadium Merdeka, the raised hands, the iconic cry of Merdeka, and the birth of a sovereign nation. He is and will always be our father of independence. But behind the statesman was a man of unique spirit, sharp wit, and a profound vision for the next generation. As we approach his 123rd birth anniversary this February 8th, we're peeling back the history books to explore the Tunku you might not know, from his personal quirks to his unwavering commitment to Malaysian education. Well, joining us to discuss these celebrations and the future of the Tunku Abdul Rahman Scholarship is KULARETNAM VIJAYAKUMAR, CEO of YAYASAN, Tunku Abdul Rahman, otherwise known as YTA. Welcome, Kula. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
It was such an interesting story at the back of YTA, and now I just really want to start with what brought you here today as well in terms of your involvement with YTA. How did you become involved in this story and legacy?
Thank you for asking. So I'll give you the short version. I used to be a school teacher. Actually, I used to teach history and English. And I got to know YTA because YTA, they run 3 programs. I mean, we're mainly known for the scholarship, but we actually also run a higher education access program called Closing the Gap. So my role was to recommend my old school students who were amazing, but they had no idea about the higher education landscape. And so I recommended these students into these programs, and many of them have now entered higher education, scholarships locally and overseas as well. And it was all because someone told them this opportunity exists. And if you try, you can go much further than you believe you can. So it was from there that I decided to join the foundation and to do this work full time.
Trying and opportunities, I love that. Now, we all know the story of the father of independence, but oftentimes, Kula, the history books miss the real man behind the title. Beyond the iconic Merdeka shout, what is one surprising human trait of Tunku that you think will really surprise Malaysians today, perhaps more so younger Malaysians?
I love that you asked this because you're absolutely right? When we think about Tunku Abdul Rahman, we tend to compress him just to Merdeka. Nothing before, nothing after. So I'll give you two. I'll give you 2 very interesting facts about him. First and foremost, we know that Tunku, he said Merdeka in Stadium Merdeka. But Tunku actually first set up this idea of Stadium Merdeka because of his love for football.
Right.
So he played a key role in developing the Malaysian football industry, and he was...
which we have a national love for now.
Yes, yeah. So I think he was a huge part of that because he was the president of the Football Association of Malaysia for quite a long time, and his focus was how could we play a bigger regional and international role in football. And so he wanted to create a world-class stadium back in the 1950s, 1957 actually, for the Malaysian public. So when we think about our football glory days in the past, a lot of it is the direct legacy of what Tunku set up way back when. And a second thing to share with you is, and I don't think many people know this, Tunku was a huge lover of theatre and the arts. So Tunku actually was a screenwriter as well. So while he was PM, he also wrote scripts. So he wrote the script for Masuri, the Legend of Masuri.
Yep.
He also wrote a script for Raja Bersiung, which was later adapted into the first Malay film that was shot in color.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, historic indeed. And here's a really nice snapshot of Tunku as well. Now, February 8th will mark his 123rd birthday. That's definitely a milestone to celebrate in terms of his legacy and what he's left behind. Being a visionary even back then, especially flying the education flag as priority. In a fast-evolving Malaysia at this point of time, Kula, how is YTA ensuring that Tunku's original vision of a harmonious, pluralistic society still is relevant for Gen Z and Gen Alpha?
Thank you for this. So before I answer this question of the present, let's go back to the past. Right. So YTA was founded back in 1966. Back then, most Malaysians did not have access to higher education. So Yayasan Tunku Abdul Rahman was founded as a way to support students from low-income background to pursue higher education. Because back then, we didn't even have PTPTN back in 1966. So YTA used to give out loans, actually. And as the Malaysian higher education landscape evolved, so too did we. So we started giving out full scholarships now. And what is happening today, yes, more Malaysians than ever are going to higher education. But what we are seeing is that accessing higher education is one thing. Succeeding in higher education and after that in the working world is another. So I would say the role we play today is really bringing those values of compassion, service, and unity to the forefront, and guiding students with those values and the skills that they need to succeed both in university and beyond.
Why do you think that gap exists? Why do you think there's such a bridge that is that is apart at that point of time in terms of access and then the success rate as well?
I think what we're seeing is that we have made tremendous strides in terms of access, and this is something that you see the government is even doing now, right? For example, we're looking at B40 students, students from the lowest income families, not needing to repay PT/PTN, these things being waived fully. So we're making tremendous strides in access. And I would say that for many students, they are able to access higher education. But being able to access higher education does not necessarily mean you will be able to access a job or you will know what you want to do after higher education. I think what we are seeing now...
Which is sometimes such a tricky place to be in.
It is, yeah.
Right.
And especially if you're the first in your family to go into university, and you're expected to choose at the age of 17 and you've not been exposed to the world, right? How many people know at the age of 17, I'm going to do exactly this? I had no idea I would end up in this sector myself.
Right.
And my parents went to university. Imagine how much harder it would be if I was the first one to go to university and I had no idea and I was expected to choose from all of these options. So while access exists, I think all of us have a role to make sure that students have an idea of what is the impact they want to leave in the world. And that's what we do as well.
That's a big question as well. What do you say to those who are like, well, scholarships not for me, I can't get access to it, but also the scholarships might pick and choose in terms of ratio or in terms of, whatever other criteria there might be. How do you set the record straight?
I think we need to be careful in terms of perception versus reality. And what I mean is, what are the stories that we hear? Right, like for example, you might hear the story commonly at school. This is something that I heard when I was a student. If you don't get straight A's, you cannot get a scholarship.
True.
And that's just not true.
It's not true?
It's not true. Absolutely, there are scholarships that focus purely on students with straight A's, but there are also scholarships like ours, which do not look at your academic results as much. So in fact, at YTA, we do not have an academic requirement at the point of application.
This is good news for a lot of people who are unable to be on that straight A track. Then what are the criteria that the YTA scholarships look for?
So for us, we were really focused on expanding beyond a very narrow view of merit. Right? I think the narrow view of merit is you get straight A's, you should get a scholarship. But for us, we recognize that in real life, your A's do not determine your success.
That's true.
It is very possible for someone with straight A's to fail. It's very possible for someone with no A's to succeed. So we look very holistically at the full breadth of a human being. We look at someone's experiences, their values, their ability to persevere through challenges, and what is the impact that they will want to leave in the world. Why are you studying the things that you study, and how do you want to make Malaysia and the world a better place? That is what we look for. We look for nation builders.
It's a more wholesome, more holistic approach, looking for nation builders. That is truly inspiring. Now, there's an exciting exhibition that's happening currently at the National Museum. It's called Tunku Negarawan Ulung. What makes this a must-see for families this month, and how did YTA bring his personal story to life there?
We are so excited for this exhibition. It's something that Museum Negara and Arkib Negara have been working on, and we've been really happy to support them through this process together under the Ministry of Unity. Because Tunku's legacy is often forgotten, right? In fact, I saw a video online that there was a person, when they saw Tunku's face, they were like, who is this? And I know that's surprising because, Tunku's face is in every textbook in every school in the country. But when we just see someone as someone on a textbook, it's very easy to forget them. So in this exhibition, we're going to have 9 different exhibitions talking about Tunku's life, his contributions in government, his contributions outside of government. In fact, actually, I would say there are 2 really must-see elements, I think never been seen before. There's actually going to be a play about Tunku's life that is going to be premiered for the first time on February 8th.
Okay.
So it is open to the public. People are more than welcome to please come and you can watch this play live. I'm very excited for it. Second of all, and this was quite an interesting find, there is a safe that Tunku used when he was Prime Minister that was discovered maybe about 10 years ago, and it was just recently opened. And so they're going to be premiering the contents of that safe in an exhibition alongside other exhibits of Tunku's life. And you'd be surprised because even, I was mentioning he's a screenwriter. There are even like, for example, posters of what he has done. In fact, Tunku is responsible for many of the national landmarks we know today, including Museum Negara, which is why we're very, very happy to do it. So Tunku is instrumental in determining both the fact that we have a national museum and the design of that museum. He insisted that this museum be Malaysian in nature, and he actually took the architect on a trip. The architect, Mr. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐍𝐀𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍, I believe, I might be mistaken. He took him to Kedah to visit a lot of traditional architecture with the view that it has to be a museum that looks Malaysian.
Wow, and that building has stood the test of time, and it's still iconic even in this day and age. So all these exhibits are happening at the National Museum all simultaneously, or is it a series?
So it will be taking place over the next 2 months, started on February the 1st actually, and it will be happening all the way until March 29. So the public is invited to come. Just wanted to quickly correct myself. The architect's name was Mr. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐍𝐀𝐄.
Okay.
And you can see actually at Museum Negara, there's also a plinth describing Tunku's contribution to the nation. There's also a bit about YAYASAN and how YAYASAN started and Tunku's role in that as well.
We'll talk about YAYASAN now. Essentially, it's been termed as a dream maker for Malaysian youth, and that's quite a statement. For those who are unfamiliar, how would you describe the heart of what YAYASAN does in terms of today's landscape and its far-reaching values, if you will, for those who are seeking scholarships?
So at YAYASAN, if I could summarize what we do, is that we look for diamonds in the rough. So, a diamond, when you look at it originally, when it's not been polished, it can be easy not to see its true worth. But with the right opportunities and the right, the right training and the right opportunities and the different things, you can polish a diamond until it reaches its full potential.
Absolutely.
So what we see is, when we, for example, determine that, someone is ineligible because of the number of A's or something, we're not seeing the true person and the true potential behind them. And that is really what we do to showcase that potential comes in all forms. Success comes in all forms. And when you only use one measure for everyone, you leave out a lot of people who would otherwise do incredible work.
And so what measures or what sort of scale do you use to assess which student has potential and is worthy of a YAYASAN scholarship?
So as much as we would wish there be an exam or something that someone could take and you could determine their potential, truthfully no such thing exists. So we have developed an internal rubric, but foundationally it comes down to these long conversations we have. So we sit down with our shortlisted applicants and we have long conversations with all of them to understand them and their motivations and their experiences. Because it's important you see the full person.
What is the current general mindset of those who have completed their Form 5 or SPM and then are transitioning into their first degree, for example? What is that? What is the state of mind at this point of time, where education is concerned, where the nation is concerned?
I think something interesting that we're seeing now that higher education is a lot more common is that for some people, they might see that higher education is just like a rite of passage. Like, I'm not sure why I'm in university, but I'm here because my parents have asked me, my teachers have asked me. So that's a real problem. I think that many people are entering higher education without a reason why. And that's not wrong, but I think collectively as a society, we just need to make sure that students ask themselves why. Because there usually is a reason, but you need to understand why first. Similarly for us, we also see there are some students who shut themselves out of university entirely because they just say, university is not for me. It's for the people who get straight A's, which is also not true.
Or those who can fund their education as well.
Yes.
Cost remains one of the main concerns. Yes. What do you say to those who perhaps are from the school of thought that how very is higher education given the likes of entrepreneurship now, the rise of AI, that there's not so much importance to have an undergraduate degree?
I think this is a complex question because I think I understand why people say it's absolutely true. You can succeed without higher education. But at the same time, what we have seen is that for students from low-income backgrounds, who are often the first in their family to pursue higher education, university and higher education provides a lot of capital and skills and opportunities and networks that they otherwise do not have access to. And this is not something that AI can compensate for.
Right.
It's not something that perseverance can compensate for, because we know that everybody works hard. Everybody tries their best. But oftentimes, success is about being in the right place at the right time. And what we endeavor to do, and I think what universities endeavor to do, is to equip students so that when opportunity strikes, they are prepared. And I think that's the function of university that will not be replaced, even though, you know, AI is now fulfilling a role that some would say makes university obsolete.
Right.
But I would say university is definitely still relevant. But we need to remember the purpose of university is not to pour knowledge into your head. It is to change you as a person. University is for life, not to get a job necessarily.
University is for life. How versatile is YTA in terms of the range of scholarships it offers? Is it also keeping up with this new age education that may be of more interest and appeal to Generation Z and beyond?
I think for us, what we have noticed is that students from low-income families, there's a preference more for traditional universities, actually, because we have actually explored a few alternative options. But I can share that for us, something we've been very open to is that we accept applicants from any MQA certified institution that offers undergraduate degrees.
So it could be a degree of their choice?
Yes. It could be a degree in performing arts, it could be a degree in literature, it could be a degree in STEM, it could be a degree in medicine. We set no limit because we want you to be able to study the thing that you want to study so that you can impact the nation and the world in the way you would like to.
You were also sharing the fact that there's not enough concentration or not enough applicants who would like to focus in the more artistic sectors. What would you like to say about that?
Yes. So I understand, for example, that STEM is important. It absolutely is. Don't get me wrong. You know, you need your doctors, your engineers, so on and so forth. But I think we also need to remember this human side of life. You know, the arts is why we're alive in a way, right? Even Tunku himself, you know, as Prime Minister, he still spent a lot of time on the arts. And I would just want to share that message in the sense that there are some scholarships that limit the fields you're allowed to pursue, but for us at YTA, we see that every single field has something to offer the Malaysian public. And you think about what motivates and inspires people to keep going, it is usually the arts. It is the stories that we tell ourselves as a society. And that's something we would like to see pushed forward for the Malaysian public. How can we create a new generation of Malaysian artists and Malaysians of different fields who will contribute to a better Malaysia for the future?
How many applicants does YTA have per year, and how many are successful in having a scholarship granted? But also, do share with us some stories about some of the you know, successful
Absolutely. I think, you know, if you don't mind, I would like to focus on the stories of successful applicants, because I do think, you know, when we talk about numbers can be a bit dehumanizing sometimes, right? So let me share with you a story of one of our scholars. So his name is RAHMAN. He applied with us with a 2.3 CGPA. And just on the basis of that, right, we're talking about numbers being dehumanizing, many scholarships rejected him. They're like, you know what, we're not interested to hear anymore.
Not good enough.
Your CGPA is not good enough. You know, you can go somewhere else. But we decided, you know, let's find out more about him and talk to him. So he was doing university while working several part-time jobs. He was doing university without a laptop. He was completing his assignments on the phone. And he was sharing laptops and going to the university library. And so he was also the first in his family to pursue higher education, first out of 9 siblings. And he grew up in a very rural background, rural area in Kinabatangan, Sabah. And now that we hear the context, we can start to see that, wow, this person has shown such strong perseverance and such strong grit. But if we had just focused on the number, we would not have seen any of that. So when we funded RAHMAN with the scholarship, so RAHMAN was funded together with our partners at 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Capital, who have partnered with us for a long time. And when he was funded, RAHMAN was able to fully focus on his studies and on contributing to the community. So he stopped working his jobs. He actually became the student council. He joined the student council in his university. He started coming up with projects on how he could develop and support the university and support students, for example, creating a food bank when students were struggling. And now after
he truly also understood the struggles, not just being streetwise, but understanding what it takes.
Absolutely.
To
and now that he's graduated, you know, he graduated, and now he's actually the Chief Investment Officer at Koperasi Nelayan Sabah. And it all just shows, right, if you look beyond the number and you see the full story and the full potential, you would be surprised at how far people can go once you believe in them and support them.
Truly inspiring, motivating as well. Give us another one, Kula, because it is really, these are the stories that give a name and a face
Absolutely.
to how lives can change through education, and the fact that education is still relevant in the University of Life.
Absolutely. So I can share the story of one of our scholars who I think is doing something very interesting and different. So her name is Sarah. She studied a degree in anthropology. And after graduating, she actually went to work in conservation. So she went to live, in the Orang Asli communities, in the jungle, basically, because her focus was how do you conserve the environment and how do you make sure that people, as well as wildlife, can live in peace. And how can we engage with the natural stewardship of the Orang Asli community to make that happen? She's actually currently doing her master's in UM as well, still in anthropology. And it just showcases to me that, when we look broadly, right, at how a person can contribute, you'd be surprised at different ways to contribute. You can do much more for the country other than just becoming a doctor. And I say that, I think perhaps a similar experience, if you go to a certain stream in school, right, the ideal is to become a doctor. The Indian parent ideal is also to become a doctor. So I think we just need to move beyond that story. And what we see is that if you follow your dreams, you can actually make a very different and unique impact.
What will you say to students watching at this point of time who feel, well, not me, it could happen to anyone else, but can I truly stand a chance at being granted a scholarship at YTA?
Absolutely. So I just want to highlight a few key pieces of information. First and foremost, as I shared earlier, we do not have an academic requirement at the point of application. Secondly, if you are currently in university, you can apply. So as long as you have 2 years of university left, you are allowed to apply for the scholarship because there are many students.
So it's not too late.
It's not too late. Yeah, it's too late for us. But
yeah, it is too late.
It's not too late for the average student because many students enter university being like, I wish I knew a scholarship existed.
Right.
But we're just here to say that you can apply for us still. We don't have a course requirement. And what we see is as long as you focus on telling your truth and telling, your story and telling us about what you've been through, you stand a chance. I think many people are waiting for someone to tell them to apply. A lot of us feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I have imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I can do this. And this is me saying, to all of you, please apply. This is me saying, please apply. We will see your potential. Even if you fail the first time, you might succeed the second or even the third. We've had some applicants who actually made it on their second or third try.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
So where to go to click that submit button, and what is that application process like as well?
Yes. So our scholarship opens on the 8th of February, which is Tunku's birthday actually. The application process is very focused on understanding you as a person. So we get applicants to answer 4 application questions about themselves. And then we'll follow that up with shortlisted candidates with an interview where we understand them and their lives in detail. I can't share more, unfortunately, but my main tip would be to be honest and, more importantly, to be authentic. Don't tell us what you think we want to hear, just tell us what is true to you.
But is it a daunting experience? Because that can also, make someone think twice.
Absolutely it is, but I'm of the belief that we only grow when we do things that are challenging for us. And a scholarship will always be scary. I don't deny that. But you have nothing to lose by trying. If you fail, no one is going to come and laugh at you and be like, haha, you failed. It's completely private, first of all. And second of all, you should be proud that you tried. Because if you didn't try, you have 0 chance of success. But if you tried, your chance of success is higher than 0. You have a real chance to succeed if only you try.
If you never try, you'll never know. Kalau belum cuba, belum tahu, right? Do share with us a little bit more information on the exhibit KULA. Where can we go to get some of the dates and what's going on at the exhibition on a day-to-day basis?
So the exhibition is already live at Museum Negara. So you can go straight to Museum Negara and you will see it. If you'd like a bit more information, you can refer to the Ministry of Unity's social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, even on TikTok. You can check it out. They've showcased a lot of information about the exhibit. But please come and check it out in person. It will be up for 2 months. You have more than enough time. It's unique. It's one of the first few times that we've had an exhibit on Tunku. And it shares the whole of his life.
we'll take this opportunity to explore not just the legacy of Tunku, the history behind it, some of his own personal notes and things as well. But one thing's clear from our conversation today, that Almarhum Tunku Abdul Rahman's legacy lives on, not just through his contributions to our history, but through the diamonds in the rough, as you've mentioned, Kula, being empowered by Yayasan Tunku Abdul Rahman. Now, the Tunku Abdul Rahman Scholarship clearly seeks those who embody the entire Malaysian spirit. And so if you have the heart to serve the country and to progress and do better, do not hesitate to apply. Kula, thank you very much for keeping the legacy of Tunku alive through the spirit of education. Well, that's all for The Nation this time. For more details on the scholarship or the museum exhibition, do visit YTAR's official channels as well. I'm Jessie CHAHAL signing off from all of us here at Bernama TV. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.